Thank you, Dr. Rankin. I wish I could take you everywhere to introduce you and go places. Welcome, everyone. I guess to start off, I'd like to admit that I'm perhaps an unusual choice as a commencement speaker. By rank, I'm a junior faculty member. Most of the parents and family and students, well, most of the parents and family that have gathered here have likely never heard of me, unless it was an overheard comment about that chemistry professor in that chemistry course I'm taking. If the comments were good, they were, of course, about me. I have never held political office in any form other than being a faculty senator here at SAU. I'm not the successful local author of popular fiction known for stories of bloodthirsty vampires. I have not gleaned a wealth of experience through years of high-level executive appointments. In fact, I was not even supposed to be here speaking to you tonight. That privilege was to belong to Dr. James Rasmussen, Chair of the Biology Department, and 2010 SAU Honor Professor. Dr. Rasmussen has been an integral part of this university as a leader, an instructor, a mentor, an academic advisor for nearly 20 years. Dr. Rasmussen was unable to be here tonight to share his thoughts with you, so Dr. Krause asked me to talk in his place. I believe that Dr. Krause said it had something to do with how cheaply I work. If I'm not mistaken, Dr. Krause. Aside from being an economical choice as speaker, I feel as though I represent the students of SAU fairly well, both those still pursuing their degrees and those graduating here this evening. Having grown up on a farm in rural Iowa, attending a small town high school with 21 students in my graduating class, gone off to college as a first-generation college student, been surprised both in good ways and in bad by my level of preparation for college work, and persevered through myriads of high points and low points to earn a degree. I feel as though I have a great deal in common with many of the students here at SAU. This being the case makes my job as a chemistry instructor all the more rewarding, and I feel a great sense of connection to SAU, and an even greater sense of connection to the students of SAU. And it is with these feelings in mind that I address you this evening. Many of you came to college and were likely surprised by how much you did not know. Whether it was of discussions of ancient Egyptians in Dr. Paulson's world history course, getting a better handle on how large-scale national economies work in Dr. Logan's macroeconomics courses, learning about the relationships between pressure, volume, and temperatures of gases in Dr. Liebertsega's chemistry course, you were continually bombarded with new information that you did not know when you were a high school graduate that, of course, knew everything. On the other hand, many of you also came to college and were likely surprised by how much you did know. The pleasure of sitting in Dr. Tucker's composition class and being able to link together themes from your current readings and from authors that you had read before coming to SAU. Participating in spirited debates in Dr. Babbitt's political science classes, or using your high school biology experiences to get a step ahead in Mr. Daniel's anatomy and physiology courses. These are all types of experiences that can make you realize that there really was a purpose to your old high school teachers presenting that material to you, and that you had to actually learn something, whether you had meant to or not. To me, it is these moments, realizing just how much you have already learned, that are the most rewarding and the most satisfying, because they give you the greatest sense of accomplishment and the biggest boost of self-confidence as a student. As for my own personal experiences, which are often the focus of speeches like these, and perhaps they're even a prerequisite of speeches like these, I am a chemist by training, and if you were to trace back through the history of chemistry, you would find that its headwaters flow from the study of alchemy. Throughout history, alchemy has been considered somewhat mystical and magical, and it often gets romanticized in literature. However, from alchemy, modern chemistry benefits from the perfection of fundamental chemical processes such as distillation, extraction, and precipitation, processes on which our entire modern civilization depends. Aside from the more pedestrian science investigated by the alchemists, is what was considered a more important concept and an underlying thread throughout alchemy: the conversion or transmutation of the 6 known base metals lead, tin, iron, mercury, silver, and copper. There will be a short quiz later. Into the seventh of the base metals, gold. These were done by steps of purification. This hypothetical and ultimately futile process required a great deal of work if it was going to be successful. The only known way around this arduous task of a sort of manual transmutation was to acquire the Philosopher's Stone. The Philosopher's Stone was made of material that could convert anything it touched into gold. And it has been brought back into popular conscience by being the focus of the first Harry Potter book of J.K. Rowling. What many do not realize, however, is that there's more than one story that can be told by the transmutation of base metals into gold. It turns out that the processes of transmutation are a fitting parallel to both the spiritual and afterlife goals of the alchemists themselves. The alchemists wrote of attempting to take these base metals and strip them down to their lowest form, and then to build them back up into a more pure and noble state, closer to that of gold. The steps needed to purify a base metal and convert it into gold were strikingly similar to the steps they felt were necessary to convert one's imperfect soul into a more perfect one worthy of an appropriate fate in the afterlife. Quite often one comes to a critical moral or philosophical crossroads and must search oneself to decide the path one wants to take. It is because of the alchemists that I find it most ironic that all too often religion and what's known as the hard sciences, such as chemistry and physics, are presumed to be either at odds or mutually exclusive of each other. Now back to you, the graduating class of 2010. I am confident that many of you had a path in college that paralleled the pathway of transmutation. Regardless of whether you were a graduate student or an undergraduate student, you were brought in as an individual that was a bit rough around the edges, but nonetheless with a great deal of potential. The coursework in your chosen field could at times break you down and leave you feeling your lowest as you began to question your abilities in the field you had chosen. Then you made the most important decision of all, to persevere. A decision to persevere and through rededication become a better student than you were before as a major step toward reaching graduation and improving your prospects in this life. You realized there was not a shortcut, only a difficult pathway that must be followed in order to reach the finish line. But, alas, the story of transmutation does not have a happy ending. The process has never been perfected. It is incomplete. Yes, you have reached a very significant milestone, but be prepared. Despite your growing academic credentials, you must continue to learn. You will continue to be surprised by how much you do not yet know. In closing, if my discussion of alchemy as the basis of chemistry has stirred an interest in you, the graduates, the desire to learn more, I'm willing to bet that Dr. Nipper has a few change of major forms with him, and we'd be happy to get those processed. Is it too late, Dr. Nipper? It's not too late. Okay, great. Dr. Nipper's your guy. At any rate, congratulations to the class of 2010 graduates and their families. I wish you the best of luck in your future endeavors, and I hope that you will always keep a special place for SAU in your heart. Thank you very much.